Wild Things baseball. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. A little bit of rain falling here at Consol Energy Park. No official word of a delay just yet, so right now we're still looking at a 5:05 first pitch, but we'll let you know as soon as we have any information on a delay. So today, Game 3 of this three-game series between the Wild Things and the Crushers, and coming up, we'll take a look at last night's victory for the Washington Wild Things. We'll take a look at the series as a whole. We'll also preview today's matchup, looking at lineups, the pitching matchup, and we'll have first pitch for you. It's all coming up right here on the MSA Sports Network. We're going to take a quick break here to start things off, but keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Sure to check out MSASports.net every day this spring for the scores, the daily standings, and the weekly rankings, plus daily high school sports broadcasts as well. In May, we will have exclusive coverage of the WPIL baseball and softball playoffs, the WPIL boys volleyball and tennis championships, and the WPIL boys and girls track and lacrosse championships. Anytime, anywhere, always there, every day this spring on the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, getting you ready for Game 3 of this three-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. I'm Zach Ziegler, and last night the Wild Things picked up a 4-2 victory over Lake Erie, handing the Crushers their first loss of the 2016 season. Things got going early for the Lake Erie Crushers. In the top of the first, Jose Barraza, who was catching, hit his first home run of the 2016 season, quickly putting Lake Erie up by a score of 1-0. But really, after that home run, starting pitcher Matt Frauden locked things down on the mound for the Wild Things. The end of the day, going 6 innings, giving up 1 run. It was earned on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And quite frankly, on the mound today, he was fabulous. Or on the mound yesterday, he was fabulous. He kept the Wild Things in the game, only allowed that 1 run in the first inning, a bend don't break kind of attitude for Frauden. As really after that, he was only faced with 1 more jam on the night, as in the top of the third. He allowed a leadoff walk to Max Casper and a single followed that by Connor Oliver to give the Lake Erie Crushers runners at first and second with only 2 away. Parker Norris would sacrifice bunt the 2 men to second and third. Then Jose Barraza, the one who hit the home run in the first inning, got struck out, and William Beckwith grounded out just in front of the plate to end that inning. Other than that, 1-2-3 in the fourth for Frauden. Faced 3 batters, got 3 outs in the fifth, 1-2-3 in the sixth. And Frauden on the day was very good on the mound. It was his first start of the season, appearing in his second game as he was in for relief in the Joliet series. This is a good start on the mound for him to this 2016 season. And offensively for the Washington Wild Things, he got their first run in the 5th inning as Andrew Heck led things off with a double. Big offensive day for him. Scott Carcasey grounded out to first base, moving Heck up to third, and then Heck would score 1 batter later on the wild pitch during the at-bat by Austin McKeon. Then the Wild Things, with the game tied at 1, got the lead in the 6th inning as after a leadoff hit by pitch by Justin Fox and a single by Jamal Austin, it gave the Wild Things runners at first and second with nobody out. Austin Wobrock followed with a single. Runners went station to station, and Grant Fink hit a sacrifice fly and scored an RBI to get the Wild Things the 2-1 lead. Wild Things would add insurance in inning number 7 after Jimmy Yezzo led things off with a double, and Andrew Heck, an RBI triple, scored him, made the score 3-1. Then Scott Carcasey and Alex McKeon flew out, and Justin Fox hit an RBI single that would score Heck with 2 away. The Wild Things would threaten again in the inning, but it failed as Jamal Austin walked, giving them first and second and 2 outs before Austin Wobrock grounded out to end the bottom of the 7th, and the Wild Things at that point had a 4-1 lead. In the 8th, they couldn't add any insurance runs on as only 4 batters came to the plate. 1 man reached on an error, but the score remained 4-1. Then Trevor Foss, who's made 2 starts for your Wild Things this season, came in for his first relief appearance, his 3rd game of the season, got roughed up, did allow a run in his inning of work, as he got the first 2 men to ground out the shortstop very quickly, only throwing 3 pitches to those first 2 batters, then allowed a 2-out triple to Daniel Aldrich, followed by a ground ball that was nice diving stop by Ricky Rodriguez, but his throw to first was dropped by Scott Carcasey that allowed Aldrich to score, made the score 4-2, and then he would strike out Parks Jordan, but Jordan would reach on a drop third strike, and he would get Max Casper to ground out to seal the 4-2 victory. The win put your Wild Things record up to 4-4 on the season, also handed Lake Erie their first loss of the 2016 season. It was a different story, however, in Game 1 of this series. It was a wild 13-inning affair between these two teams, with the Lake Erie Crushers eventually winning that game by the score of 9-6 in 13 innings of work. In that game, it was also good starting pitching for the Wild Things as Chase Cunningham was on the mound. In Game 1 of that series, he went 7 innings, only giving up 1 run, 5 hits, no strikeouts, and no walks through 7 innings. So he did a good job of keeping the Lake Erie Crushers off the board. In that game, the Crushers got their first run in the top of the 4th on a William Beckwith home run. It was his first of the 2016 season. That tied the game at 1 as the Wild Things scored their first run in the bottom of the 3rd. After a single by Alex McKeon got things started, and a ground out by Zagnuski moved him up, and a single by Jamal Austin brought him in. The score was tied at 1-1. Then we would stay that way for the next couple innings, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Both teams kept off the board. Then in the 11th inning, the Lake Erie Crushers broke through. As in deep extra innings here in the Frontier League, you're awarded a runner at second base to try to make the game go faster. Max Casper would single home that runner at second for an RBI, and at that point gave the Lake Erie Crushers a 2-1 lead going into the bottom of the 11th. However, the Washington Wild Things would respond as Jamal Austin singled in the runner for the Washington Wild Things that was awarded second base, and that tied the game at 2. Austin Wobrock would add a single, but then a 1-6-3 double play by Jimmy Yezo stopped the threat in inning number 11. The 12th inning looked like the downer for the Washington Wild Things. 4 runs came in for the Lake Erie Crushers in that inning on just 2 hits, a bunch of walks, and a fielder's choice. In that inning led to 4 runs. It was 6-2. Looked like your Washington Wild Things were out of it, but they never said die as with 2 outs, or 1 out, Dave Popkin struck out. Andrew Heck tripled in. The runner from second made it 6-3. Ricky Rodriguez got hit by a pitch, and Grant Fink hit an RBI double that scored Heck, making the score 6-4. Scott Carcasey would add an RBI single, making the score 6-5, and they would score 1 more run, making it 6-6. Lake Erie Crushers would then score 3 runs in the top of the 13th, and that lead was insurmountable for your Washington Wild Things as they lost that game by the score of 9-6. Game 3 of this 3-game series coming up. First pitch scheduled for now at 5:05. However, there is some rain falling here at Consol Energy Park. Looked like the rain has stopped as of now, but the pregame festivities have yet to get underway, so there might be a slight delay, but no word yet, so we're still looking at a good time to start first pitch at 5:05. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. Keep it right here on the MSA Sports Network for more coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. The Washington Wild Things pregame show is here as we get ready for Game 3 of this 3-game series between the Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. We're going to take a look at the lineup for both these teams here in Game 1 of this series. First, for the visiting Crushers, they enter today with a record of 6-1. They'll lead off with their center fielder, Connor Oliver. Batting second at second base tonight, Parker Norris. Batting third at first base will be Jose Barraza. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, William Beckwith. In the number 5 hole in left field tonight, Juan Avila. Batting sixth in right field will be Daniel Aldrich. Batting seventh, the shortstop, Brendan Constantino. Batting 8th and behind the plate, Brian De La Rosa. And batting 9th at third base will be Mike Devine. On the mound, Juan Caballero, making his first start of the 2016 season. For the Washington Wild Things, they enter this game with a record of 4-4. They'll lead off with their center fielder, Jamal Austin. Hitting second at shortstop will be Austin Wobrock. In the 3-hole at first base, Jimmy Yezzo. The cleanup man in right field will be Dave Popkins. Batting 5th in left field will be Andrew Heck. In the 6th-hole, the third baseman, Grant Fink. Batting 7th, designated hitter Scott Carcasey. Hitting 8th and behind the plate will be Alex McKeon. And batting 9th at second base will be Justin Fox. On the mound today for the Washington Wild Things will be Brandon Hinkle, the left-hander, making his second start of the year for the Washington Wild Things. When we come back, we'll take a look at the pitching matchup. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball. It's the Washington Wild Things pregame show. We are going to have a slight delay. However, first pitch is scheduled for 5:35 p.m. between the Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Game 3 of this 3-game series. Keep it right here. We'll take you all the way up to first pitch. Again, 5:35 is the official time for first pitch as the sun's coming out here at Consol Energy Park. We had a little bit of rain here in the pregame show. The rain started at about 4:30. It was coming down pretty heavy, and it's caused this little half-hour delay. So again, 5:35 will be the first pitch between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. And back again, taking a look at the lineup tonight for the Lake Erie Crushers, a little unconventional. Mike Devine, who has pitched in both games of this 3-game series, is playing at third base tonight. And Brian De La Rosa making his debut behind the plate. Juan Avila, who was at third base for the first 2 games, moves out to left field, and Jose Barraza will be over at first base. But looking at Devine pitching all season for the Lake Erie Crushers, currently has a record of 2-1 in 6 games or 5 games on the season, 6 2/3 innings pitched, 1 run given up, 1 earned on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Has not played the field yet here in the 2016 season, so an interesting choice for Lake Erie manager Maggie Norado to play Mike Devine in the field. So we'll see how that works out. Also, Brian De La Rosa making his 2016 debut for the Lake Erie Crushers, as De La Rosa played in the Atlanta Braves minor league system for the Rome Braves a year ago in 2015. Hit .205 with 5 home runs and 23 RBIs. Played in 79 games. Had 283 at-bats, 58 hits, 31 runs scored, 18 doubles, no triples, 24 walks, and 75 strikeouts. So De La Rosa, a new face behind the plate for the Lake Erie Crushers. And one of the power bats in the Lake Erie Crusher lineup in Game 1 was William Beckwith. Beckwith, in Game 1 of this series, ended up having a big day, having 4 hits and 6 at-bats against the Washington Wild Things, including his first home run of the 2016 season, which got the Lake Erie Crushers on the board early in that game and tied the game at 1. But he was a real thorn in the side in Game 1, and in Game 2, he was almost a non-factor. Matt Frodden shut him down. Beckwith was 0 for 3 on the night, did reach base once on a walk. So it was a good job by the Wild Things of limiting Beckwith at the plate in Game 2, and that'll be another key tonight. Beckwith in that cleanup spot. If you can neutralize Beckwith and Barraza, you're going to have a good shot at winning, as these two drive in a lot of runs for this team as they sit in the middle of that Lake Erie lineup. Barraza this year, 7 RBIs, while Beckwith sits with 2. Each of them have a home run on the 2016 season as they look to get going here early on. They're in the middle of that lineup driving in runs. Lake Erie, as we said, came into the series with a record of 5-0, took game one to go to 6-0, but the Wild Things handed them their first loss of the 2016 season a night ago as they lost 4-2 to the Wild Things last night in a game that really was controlled by the starting pitching. Matt Fraud, as we said, 6 shutout innings for him in that game. Had 7 strikeouts and 2 walks. Really the first Wild Things pitcher we've seen dominate a game. We've seen a lot of so-so. They've gone 6 innings, given up a run, but they've given up a lot of walks. Not the case with Frauden. Frauden, 1 mistake in the first, 1 bad inning in the third, and that was it. He was really dominant the entire game for the Washington Wild Things, and that's something you want to see on the mound moving forward. So hopefully Frauden can take that into his next start for the Wild Things, as he did a great job of keeping the Wild Things in the ball game last night and helping them get the victory. A lot more coming up here in the Washington Wild Things pregame show. As we said, a little bit of a delay. 5:35 will be the first pitch between your Washington Wild Things and these Lake Erie Crushers. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the 2 starting pitchers in this contest and see how they match up. Keep listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School, lead don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Wild Things and Crushers getting set for Game 3 of this 3-game series from Consol Energy Park. First pitch moved back a little bit tonight, 5:35, as we had some rain in the pregame that pushes things back. But the sun is now coming out here at Consol Energy Park, and it's looking like a decent day for baseball here in the Frontier League. Now we're going to look at the pitching matchup for tonight's ball game. On the mound for your Washington Wild Things will be Brandon Hinkle, and Hinkle in his first start of the year wasn't very good as he started Game 1 of that Joliet series. He pitched 4 2/3 innings, giving up 6 runs, 5 earned on 8 hits, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts in the loss. He's 0-1 on the year with a 10.38 ERA. And his real problem in that game was he just kept falling behind batters early, and Joliet took advantage. He'd get into 2-0, 3-0 counts, and Joliet would be getting pitches that they wanted to hit, and they'd drive out of the ballpark. That was part of a 10-3 loss, as you saw. Hinkle giving up in that game. He gave up 6 runs, 5 of which were earned in that 10-3 loss. So today, he looks to turn things around, and opposing him for Lake Erie, making his 2016 debut, Juan Caballero. He pitched in the Miami Marlins organization last year for Johnson City, their single-A affiliate, and went 3-2 with a 5.75 ERA, 19 games for him, no starts. He had 36 innings pitched, 41 strikeouts to 12 walks. He allowed 6 home runs and 24 runs, 23 earned on 38 hits in 36 innings of work. So you see by the stat line, Caballero, not a guy who's going to walk you. He's going to throw in the strike zone and try to get you to put the ball in play, try to get you to strike out. He had 41 strikeouts and 36 innings pitched a year ago for Johnson City. So he's a guy who likes to throw in the zone, likes to get you to swing and miss at his pitches. So for the Wild Things, try not to get deep in the count today, and try to just get a pitch that you can handle and drive it to where you want to. Also, we said today in the Lake Erie Crushers lineup, Mike Devine playing third base. He's a pitcher in the bullpens, pitched in the first 2 games of this series. And last night, in his appearance in the bullpen. Devine went a third of an inning, gave up 1 run. It was earned on 2 hits. So he was a little roughed up, got only 1 out in last night's game. However, he has batted before, as he has done both pitching and batting throughout his time in the Frontier Leagues. Played for Traverse City and Normal and now Lake Erie. This is his second year with the Lake Erie Crushers. Last year, he had 8 at-bats for the Lake Erie Crushers, 3 hits, a .375 average, struck out 4 times. Did have an RBI on the year, so Devine does have experience in the field, as you can see. Only 8 at-bats this season. He's a career .333 hitter, has 9 career at-bats and 3 hits. So Mike Devine getting the start in the field as Juan Avila moves out to left field in place, of Parks Jordan, who's been playing there the last 2 nights to start this series. Game 3 of this 3-game series between the Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. 5:35 first pitch, as we do have a little bit of a delay here at Consol Energy Park. We had some rain in the pregame show and it affecting the start time, but we should be underway and have a good day for baseball here at 5:30. Keep listening to the MSA Sports Network. Up next, going to take a look around the Frontier League, see what happened yesterday, and take a little look at the standings to see how teams are doing early on in the season. Keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get to sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show here on the MSA Sports Network. Game 3 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. First pitch originally scheduled for 5:05 p.m. this evening. However, we had some rain come through at about 4:30, so that pushes the start time back now at 5:35 as players from both teams are out on the field and stretching. So we will have baseball for you this afternoon. We said Game 3 getaway day for the Lake Erie Crushers. After this game, Lake Erie goes and will take on the Windy City Thunderbolts May 24th through the 26th in a 3-game series. Then May 27th through the 29th, they go to Traverse City to play the Beach Bums. And they round out the month May 31st through June 2nd back at home, where they take on the Gateway Grizzlies. Coming up for your Washington Wild Things, 2 off days, off Monday and Tuesday. Then they're back here at Consol Energy Park May 25th, a doubleheader versus the Traverse City Beach Bums. First pitch for that one at 6:05. Both games can be heard here on the MSA Sports Network. They'll wrap up that 3-game series with Traverse City on Thursday, May 26th. Then they go to Schaumburg to take on the Boomers for a 3-game series, May 27th through the 29th. And they round out the month of May 31st through June 2nd, at the Normal Corn Belters before returning back to Consol Energy Park June 3rd through the 5th to take on the Evansville Otters. So that's the upcoming schedule for your Washington Wild Things. Other action here in the Frontier League on this Sunday afternoon. 1 game already completed as the Windy City Thunderbolts and the Schaumburg Boomers started their game at 1 p.m. Windy City getting the 6-3 win in that contest. Other games just getting underway. The Gateway Grizzlies taking on the River City Rascals. The Southern Illinois Miners face the Normal Corn Belters, and the Joliet Slammers face the Traverse City Beach Bums. Also, Florence Freedom will be taking on Evansville. As we said, a little bit of a delay here at Consol Energy Park. 5:35, the first pitch between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers from Consol Energy. So getting ready for baseball, going to take a look at the 2016 Frontier League standings here. Only about 8 games into the season for most of these teams. And as we take a look right now, the Windy City Thunderbolts with their win today jump ahead of the Lake Erie Crushers in the Eastern Division. Now sit there with a record of 8-1. Lake Erie sits in second, their record 6-1. Then your Wild Things in third place, record of 4-4. The Joliet Slammers sit in fourth at 4-5. The Traverse City Beach Bums in fifth, they sit at 2-5. And the Schaumburg Boomers sit in last place. Their record currently 1-8 after action today. On the other side, the Western Division, the Evansville Otters lead things. Their record is now 5-3. Then the Southern Illinois Miners sit at 5-3 as well, so tie for the first place spot in the West Division. Then the River City Rascals in third place sit at 4-3. They've come back and bounced back nicely after an 0-2 start to the season, now sitting at 4-3. And then the Gateway Grizzlies, who the Washington Wild Things opened the season against, sit in fourth place with a record of 4-4. The Normal Corn Belters, who we'll see on the next road trip, sit at 3-5. And the Florence Freedom round out that West Division with a record of 2-6. Here currently getting ready for Game 3 of the 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. First pitch moved back to 5:35 due to a little bit of rain we had come through the area earlier today at about 4:30. That pushed events back. The sun trying to peek its way through here at Consol Energy Park as both sides are out stretching and going through their pregame routines as we get ready for Game 3 of this 3-game series. We said next game here on MSA Sports Network will be the first game of a doubleheader that'll be played on Wednesday, May 25th. 2 off days coming up for your Washington Wild Things on Monday and Tuesday. On May 25th, they'll take on the Traverse City Beach Bums. First pitch of Game 1 can be heard at 6:05 here on the MSA Sports Network. Then Game 2 immediately following that. On the mound for the Wild Things in Game 1 will be Trevor Foss, and in Game 2 will be Connor Kendrick. Foss pitched last night in a closer's role, his first relief appearance of the season. Did give up a run, but was able to get out of the inning and seal the victory for the Wild Things. Ended up going an inning, giving up a run. It was earned on 1 hit, no walks, and no strikeouts. So Foss taking the mound in Game 1 of the doubleheader on Wednesday. Kendrick taking the mound in Game 2. And then on Thursday, Chase Cunningham wraps things up in Game 3 of that series before the Wild Things travel to Schaumburg to take on the Boomers for the second road trip of the 2016 season. The Wild Things currently with a record of 4-4 coming into this game, looking to go above 500. As we will be right back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Keep it tuned here all day. First pitch, 5:35 between your Wild Things and the Crushers. And it's all right here on MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Be sure to check out MSASports.net every day this spring for the scores, the daily standings, and the weekly rankings, plus daily high school sports broadcasts as well. In May, we will have exclusive coverage of the WPIAL baseball and softball playoffs, the WPIAL boys volleyball and tennis championships, and the WPIAL boys and girls track and lacrosse championships. Anytime, anywhere, always there, every day this spring on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Game 3 of this 3-game series between the Lake Erie Crushers and your Washington Wild Things, scheduled to get going at 5:35 as the Wild Things won last night's game by a score of 4-2, and the Lake Erie Crushers took Game 1. Score in that one was 9-6. after 13 innings of play. Game 3 of this 3-game series today. And one more time, a look at the two lineups in case you missed it earlier. For the Lake Erie Crushers, they come in with a record of 6-1. Lead off with their center fielder, Connor Oliver. In the 2-hole at second base, Parker Norris. Batting third at first base, Jose Barraza. Batting fourth will be the designated hitter, William Beckwith. In the number 5 spot, left fielder Juan Avila. Batting 6th in right field, Daniel Aldrich. Batting 7th, the shortstop Brendan Constantino. Hitting 8th, making his 2016 debut, Brian De La Rosa. And batting 9th at third base, Mike Devine. It'll be Juan Caballero on the mound for the Lake Erie Crushers. For your Washington Wild Things, they enter today's game with a record of 4-4. They lead off with their center fielder, Jamal Austin. Batting second at shortstop will be Austin Wobrock. In the 3-hole at first base, Jimmy Yezzo. Batting fourth, right fielder Dave Popkins. Batting fifth in left field will be Andrew Heck. Batting sixth will be the third baseman Grant Fink. Heading seventh, the designated hitter Scott Carcasey. Batting eighth behind the plate, Alex McKeon. And batting ninth, getting his second start in a row at second base, will be Justin Fox. And on the mound for your Wild Things will be Brandon Hinkle. Pre-game festivities just getting underway here at Consol Energy Park as your Wild Things get set to take on the Lake Erie Crushers in Game 3 of this 3-game series. As we said, Wild Things a 4-2 win in last night's ball game. They scored their first run of the contest in inning number 5 after a leadoff double by one-out double by Andrew Heck, a ground out by Scott Carcasey, moved over to third, and the wild pitch scored him in the 5th inning. Lake Erie got their first run in the first as Jose Barraza hit his first home run of the 2016 season, a solo shot over the outfield wall, making the score at that point 1-0. The Wild Things, as we said, tied it in the 5th and made it 1-1. Wild Things would add a run in the top of the 6th as Ricky Rodriguez hit a sacrifice fly that scored Justin Fox and gave the Wild Things a 2-1 lead. Insurance runs coming in the 7th as Jimmy Yezzo led things off with a double. Andrew Heck tripled him in, making the score 3-1. And 2 batters later, Justin Fox had an RBI single of his own, his first RBI of the 2016 season, and made the score 4-1. Trevor Foss, as we said, his first relief appearance of the year, came in the 9th trying to close things out. He did give up a run after getting the first 2 men of the inning to ground out. He allowed a triple to Daniel Aldrich. Then Brendan Constantino reached on a bouncing ball that Ricky Rodriguez made a nice diving stop at third base on. He got up through to first, and Scott Carcasey at first just could not handle the throw. And that would have ended the game, but it allowed the run to score and made the score 4-2. Then Foss would strike out Parks Jordan. However, the pitch would get away from Alex McKeon behind the plate, allowing Jordan to reach and giving the Crushers would be runners at first and second with 2 away. Then Max Casper grounded out to end the game. Wild Things picked up their 4th win of the season, even their record at 4-4. And last night, as we said, Matt Frauden, very good on the mound. 6 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned. He did a good job on the mound. And also, coming out of the bullpen, Devin Davis did a good job. He pitched 2 innings of work, gave up 2 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. No runs for Davis. Davis wasn't a jam himself as he loaded the bases with 1 out in the top of the 7th after Daniel Aldrich walked. And there were back-to-back singles by Brendan Constantino and Parks Jordan. However, he got Max Casper to hit into the big 5-4-3 double play to end that threat and keep the Wild Things at what that point was only a 2-1 lead. Davis kept in the lead. The Wild Things would eventually break out in the 7th, adding 2 more insurance runs and getting the 4-2 victory, handing Lake Erie their first loss of the 2016 season. Lake Erie came into the series having swept both the Schaumburg Boomers and the River City Rascals in their first 2 outings of the season. As we said, first pitch for this game scheduled for 5:35 now after some pregame rain rolled through the area. We'll be right back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. A little bit of an extended pregame show as first pitch originally scheduled for 5:05. However, some rain rolled through the area at about 4:30 and pushed first pitch back to 5:35 p.m. So first pitch about 8 minutes away between the Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers in Game 3 of this three-game series. As we said, the Wild Things got the 4-2 win last night. Looking at the pitchers again, who will start in this one. Juan Caballero making his 2016 Frontier League debut. Last year pitched for Johnson City in the Miami Marlins organization, and went 3-2 with a 5.75 ERA in 36 innings pitched. He struck out 41 batters and walked 12. So not a guy who throws a lot of balls outside the zone, but he tries to throw it in the zone, have you put the ball in play, or strike out. It's one of two options with Caballero. So the Wild Things today going to have to look. They're going to get some pitches to hit. We'll see if they can handle it and take advantage of some pitches in the strike zone and present some good offense. Opposing him on the mound for the Wild Things is Brandon Hinkle. Hinkle making his second start of the year for the Wild Things. Started game 1 of the Joliet series, and it didn't go so well for him. He went 4 2/3 innings, giving up 6 runs, 5 of them earned, 8 hits, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, with a 10.38 ERA on the season so far. Sits with a record of 0-1, and for Hinkle, his key for today's game will be get out in front of batters. He wasn't doing it in Joliet, and it led to a lot of offensive opportunities for the Slammers, and they really got on Hinkle early and often, and the Wild Things were down early in that one and could never recover. They lost that game by a score of 10-3. So for Hinkle today, throw your game. Get the ball over the strike zone, get ahead of batters, and don't fall behind, and you will be fine. And as we said, Wild Things three keys of the game. That's 1 for Hinkle. For the offense, hit your pitch. Swing early, swing often. Caballero, not a guy who throws out of the zone very often. So you're going to get something to hit. It's going to be in the zone. It's whether or not you take advantage of it. So for the Wild Things, I'd say swing early and often. The guy I'm looking for to come through offensively is Grant Fink. Fink at third base today has had trouble getting going early in the season. A lot of strikeouts, but for him, he's going to see a lot of pitches in the zone. He likes to swing, and he can get some pitches he could handle tonight. So I'm looking for Grant Fink to have a big night for your Washington Wild Things. If he can do it out of the 6-hole, he will be successful. With Andrew Heck batting in front of him, Heck on the tear he has been on recently in these last 2 games. 2 for 4 in last night's game for Andrew Heck, as well as driving in an insurance run on the night. And in that wild 13-inning game, Heck had 1 hit on the night. It was an RBI triple in back-to-back games. And he's been heating up for your Washington Wild Things after taking 2 days off in Joliet. And if he can get going, then 3, 4, 5, and if Grant Fink gets going, 6, could be a very productive spot in the order for the Washington Wild Things. So looking for Grant Fink to have a good day offensively, and also for the Wild Things, as we said, got to make plays on defense. Only 3 strikeouts for Brandon Hinkle. Hinkle, not a guy who's going to blow the ball by you. The Wild Things don't have many of those. So for the Wild Things defense, get out in front of the ball, make plays when you need to, and worry about playing the game of baseball. Game 3 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. First pitch scheduled for 5:35 p.m. as Brandon Hinkle has finished his warm toss and is now making the stroll to the dugout. Getting ready for baseball here. Cloudy over Consol Energy Park. In the forecast, we have on and off rain all day, so chance of rain. We'll see if we can get baseball played, get all 9 innings in this one. We'll see a little bit of a delay, as we said, to begin this game. 5:35 the start time in this one. Another guy making his Frontier League debut for the Lake Erie Crushers. Behind the plate will be Brian De La Rosa. De La Rosa last year played in the Atlanta Braves organization for the Rome Braves, their single-A full-year squad. He played in 79 games, hit .205 with 5 homers and 23 RBIs. He had in 283 at-bats, he had 58 hits, 31 runs scored, and 75 strikeouts. So De La Rosa, a guy who swings and strikes out a lot. So we'll see if Brandon Hinkle can take care of him behind the plate today. The guy I'm watching in the Lake Erie Crushers lineup is Jose Barraza. Barraza in that number 3 hole hit his first homer of the 2016 season last night, has 7 RBIs on the year, and he's one of the big run producers for Lake Erie. If Washington can handle him and keep him in check, they can have a very successful day against this Lake Erie lineup. As you saw last night, Barraza only with the 1 home run, and that's one of the 2 runs that Lake Erie scored on the day. We see lineup cards now being exchanged at home plate by manager Greg Langben for the Wild Things and manager Chris Mogiardo for the Lake Erie Crushers. First pitch just about ready to get underway upon us, as 5:35 is the scheduled first pitch time. Lineups are being exchanged out there. We're going to take one more break here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show. You're listening to the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network, just about ready for first pitch in this one. 5:35 scheduled first pitch. Little bit of rain falling here at Consol Energy Park, but we are going to start at 5:35. Washington Wild Things getting set to take the field. Taking a look at these starting lineups one more time for the Wild Things: Jamal Austin, Austin Wobrock, Jimmy Yezzo, Dave Popkins, Andrew Heck, Grant Fink, Scott Carcasey, Alex McKeon, and Justin Fox. For the opposing Lake Erie Crushers: Connor Oliver, Parker Norris, Jose Barraza, William Beckwith, Juan Avila, Daniel Aldrich, Brendan Constantino, Brian De La Rosa, and Mike Devine. On the mound for the Washington Wild Things, Brendan Hinkle, and on the mound for the Lake Erie Crushers, Juan Caballero. Players getting introduced here on the field as we are just about ready for first pitch. Going to have the national anthem coming up here, so we are going to step aside one more time before we go to first pitch. But we do want to remind you this broadcast brought to you by Consol Energy, Bethany College, and True Par America, as the Wild Things 4-4 looking to go above 500 for the first time since Game 2 of the Joliet Series, as they are sitting now at 4-4. As we said, a little bit of rain falling, but not enough to limit the first pitch in this one. Well, as they go to the national anthem here at Consol Energy Park, going to take one more break. We will have first pitch for you when we come back. Keep listening here to the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Be sure to check out MSASports.net every day this spring for the scores, the daily standings, and the weekly rankings, plus daily high school sports broadcasts as well. In May, we will have exclusive coverage of the WPIAL baseball and softball playoffs, the WPIAL boys volleyball and tennis championships, and the WPIL Boys and Girls Track and Lacrosse Championships. Anytime, anywhere, always there, every day this spring on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, just about ready for first pitch as we see your Washington Wild Things on the field. First pitch tonight pushed back 30 minutes as we had some rain in the pregame. We now have some rain falling again at Consol Energy Park, but that's not stopping the Wild Things from warming up. On the mound, as we said, for your Washington Wild Things will be Brandon Hinkle. Hinkle making his second start of the year. Comes into the game with a record of 0-1, a 10.38 ERA. He pitched 4 2/3 innings last time out, gave up 6 runs, 5 of which earned on 8 hits, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And for Hinkle today, the key, don't fall behind batters. He fell behind batters in Joliet, and it ended up costing him late in the game. So he'll look to stay out in front early and often here against Lake Erie. A look at the defensive alignment for your Washington Wild Things. The outfield left to right will be Andrew Heck, Jamal Austin, and Dave Popkins. Left side of the infield held down by Grant Fink and Austin Wobrock. Right side by Justin Fox and Jimmy Yezzo. And behind the plate will be Alex McKeon. For the Lake Erie Crushers, their lineup looks like this. Connor Oliver leads off in center field. Batting second, the second baseman Parker Norris. Hitting third behind first base, Jose Barraza. Batting fourth, the designated hitter William Beckwith. In the 5 spot in left field, Juan Avila. Batting sixth in right field, Daniel Aldrich. Hitting 7th at shortstop, Brendan Constantino. Batting 8th behind the plate, Brian De La Rosa. And hitting 9th at third base will be Mike Devine. So Connor Oliver steps up, and we are just about ready for baseball here from Consol Energy Park. A rainy afternoon as Oliver comes into this game hitting .296, no homers, 2 RBIs. Hinkle looks into McKeon. Has his sign, he's set in the first pitch. Is a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. First pitch today thrown at 5:39 p.m. and it's 58 degrees. First pitch time and temperature brought to you by Hotline Grocery and Hotspot. The 1-0, and that's outside ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, the count to the leadoff man for Lake Erie's. It's Connor Oliver. Hinkle looks in, has his sign in the 2-0. And that's outside ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes, and we talked about it. Hinkle last time on the mound got behind batters early and it ended up costing him. Hopefully it doesn't here as the 3-0 is a called strike. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count, no outs, just underway here from Consol Energy Park after about a half-hour rain delay to start the game. Hinkle set in the 3-1. And that's a called strike. 3 balls, 2 strikes as the count goes full to the Lake Erie center fielder. Parker Norris will be on deck as Hinkle looks to get the first out here in the first. Looks into McKeon, his pitch. And that's way outside ball 4. So a leadoff walk starts things for the Lake Erie Crushers, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Parker Norris. Norris enters today hitting .286, no homers, 5 RBIs. We've seen him mostly as the designated hitter in this series, getting to play the field here in Game 3. So a runner on, nobody out for Lake Erie. Hinkle, the lefty, set, checks him in the pitch. That's high ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes, the count on Norris, the second baseman. Hinkle set, and the 1-0. Throw over to first, they got Oliver. Yezo throws to second, we got a rundown. Wobrock is going to hold the ball himself. He missed the tag, throws back to Justin Fox at second. He slips, and Fox gets the tag. So Connor Oliver picked off, trying to steal second. Officially 3-6 to 3-4 on the putout. So now with 1 out and nobody on in the top of the first, Parker Norris steps in with a 1-0 count. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. Rain falling here at Consol Energy Park. A light rain, but it is steady. Hinkle setting the 1-0. And that's outside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Hinkle's falling behind the first 2 batters here to start the game. Here's his 2-0. And this one hit the right field, but it'll hook foul. Count goes to 2-1. Watch out in the parking lot. 2 balls and a strike. Here at Consol Energy Park, the cars parked behind the outfield wall, so any ball that's hit deep, you got to get a little watch out there and get a little nervous, hope it's not your car. The 2-1, and that's low, ball 3. 3 balls and a strike, 1 out here in the top of the first. No score. Hinkle's 3-1. And that's outside, ball 4. So 2 walks here for Hinkle already. He has 1 out on the pickoff, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jose Barraza. Barraza enters today hitting .291. Or should be hitting .310, 1 homer, 7 RBIs. Barraza the lefty versus Hinkle the lefty. Barraza's been behind the plate for the first 2 games of this series, getting some time at first base tonight. Barraza last night 1 for 4 with that home run. Hinkle checks first in the pitch. And that's high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Hinkle again behind the first baseman for Lake Erie. He's set, and the 1-0. Nope, throw over to first. And back is Norris. Parker Norris at first base. He reached on a walk. And Jose Barraza, the batter now, drove in 1 of his team's 2 runs last night. Here from Consol Energy Park in Washington, PA. Just underway. Top of the first, 1 away. No score between your Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Hinkle setting the 1-0. And that's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count here. Parker Norris, the runner at first for Lake Erie. Hinkle looks in, has his sign. He's set. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 and 2 there has got Barraza to chase out of the zone on his fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. We said a slight rain falling here at Consol Energy Park, but nothing major. Hinkle set, and the 1-2. Throw over to first, and Norris is back. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. The defense in a semi-shift here, as Grant Fink playing way off the line at third base. Here's the 1-2. And this one hit the right center field. Jamal Austin going over, and he will make the running catch. That is out number 2. So 2 away here in the top of the first. No scores. That'll bring up the designated hitter, William Beckwith. Beckwith comes into today hitting .286 with a homer and 2 RBIs. He hit that home run back in Game 1 of this 3-game series against the Wild Things in the Crushers' 9-6 13-inning win on Friday night. Hinkle set, checks Norris at first, and the pitch. Swing and a miss, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count to the Lake Erie DH. Beckwith a tale of 2 games. In Game 1, 4 for 6, as he really drove the Lake Erie Crushers offense, and then last night going 0 for 3 with a walk. Hinkle set in the 0-1. High and inside, ball 1, as Beckwith didn't like it. He stares down Hinkle, 1 ball, 1 strike. Batters don't like it when you miss up by the head, and Beckwith took exception to that one as he gave a stare out to Brandon Hinkle on the mound. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, top first. Hinkle set, and the 1-1. And that's outside, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. The lefty Hinkle versus the lefty Beckwith. Hinkle has his sign. He's set in the 2-1. And that's a called strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just on the outside corner. 2-2, 2 outs. Top of the first. No score between the Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Got started about a half hour late due to a rain delay. 5:39 was the first pitch. Hinkle's 2-2 coming. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Beckwith, and that retires the side. So no runs in the inning for Lake Erie on no hits, no errors, and a man left on. After half an inning, the score, the Crushers nothing, your Wild Things coming to bat. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Going into the bottom of the first, no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. And on the mound for the Crushers, making his 2016 debut, Juan Caballero. Caballero last year pitched to the Miami Marlins system, went 3-2, 5.75 ERA and 36 innings of work, had 41 strikeouts and 12 walks. So a guy who doesn't walk very many batters. So the Wild Things will be looking to swing early and often. Looking at the defensive alignment for these Lake Erie Crushers in the outfield left to right, it'll be Juan Avila, Connor Oliver, and Daniel Aldrich. The left side of the infield held down by Mike Devine and Brendan Constantino. The right side held down by Parker Norris and Jose Barraza. And behind the plate is Brian De La Rosa. Look at the Washington Wild Things lineup here before we get going to the bottom of the first. It'll be Jamal Austin, Austin Wobrock, Jimmy Yezzo, Dave Popkins, Andrew Heck, Grant Fink, Scott Carcasey, Alex McKeon, and Justin Fox. So very similar to lineup to last night with a couple of changes as Grant Fink comes in after getting the night off. And we're about ready for baseball here in the bottom of the first. Jamal Austin will step in to get things going. Austin enters this game for the Wild Things, hitting .290, no homers, 3 RBIs. Has had a hit in 7 of the team's first 8 games. Out of the leadoff spot. Caballero looks in. He's set, and here's his first pitch of the 2016 season. And it's high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes, the count to the Wild Things center fielder, Jamal Austin. 1 ball, no strikes, and the pitch coming. And that's a called strike. 1-1 the count on Jamal. For a rainy Sunday afternoon, a decent-sized crowd here on a kids' Sunday in Bark at the Park. About halfway full here at Consol, the 1-1. And this ball popped up. Constantino, the shortstop, going out the shallow left. He calls everyone off and makes the catch. That's out number 1. So 1 away here in the bottom of the first, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock enters today hitting .258 with a homer and 5 RBIs. So Wobrock has now played in all 9 of the team's games this year. Caballero set. Looking in. Here's the pitch. And that's low, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes, the count to Wobrock. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Caballero has his sign. He's set. And the 1-0 coming. And this one grounded to second base. Handled there, and the throw on to first. That's out number 2. 4-3 on the putout. And quickly 2 away here for the Wild Things in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo was hitting .048 coming into this series, now hitting .111 with 1 homer and 2 RBIs. So Yezzo starting to get going offensively. So he looks to have a big day for the Wild Things. No score, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Caballero setting the pitch. And it's high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes to count to Yezo. Playing first base tonight, was the designated hitter in last night's ball game. Caballero set, and the 1-0. Yezo tops this one foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1, 2 outs, bottom first. No score between the Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Caballero, a Carolina, Puerto Rico native. He's setting the 1-1. Swinging a foul tip, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yezo just getting a piece of that one. And we talked about it for Yezo. Came into this series hitting .048, but really turning it on here in this series. 1 for 4 last night. Also added a hit in the 13-inning affair on Friday night. So Yezo looking to turn things around offensively. Caballero setting the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Yezo strikes out. That is out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Wild Things, and after an inning of play, the score, Lake Erie nothing, your Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the Washington Wild Things coverage here on MSA Sports Network. Going to the top of the second. No score between the Lake Erie Crushers and your Washington Wild Things. In the first, Brandon Hinkle walked the first 2 batters of the inning. However, he picked off Connor Oliver at first, and that was the first out of the inning. Then Jose Barraza flew out to center field, and William Beckwith struck out to end that top of the first. Due up in this inning for Lake Erie will be Juan Avila, Daniel Aldrich, and Brendan Constantino. 5, 6, and 7 due up to face Brandon Hinkle. Sundays are Kids Club days at Consol Energy Park. Children 12 and under can join the club for free. They get lots of perks, including a t-shirt, giveaway items, and free tickets to all Kids Club days. For more information, log on to WashingtonWildThings.com or call the box office at 855-456-WILD. The Kids Club is sponsored by Kona Ice, MedExpress, PA Leadership Charter School, Pepsi, and Frito-Lay. This afternoon, the first Kids Club day of the year, and that'll bring in the left fielder, Juan Avila. Avila enters today, hitting .267 with a homer and 4 RBIs. Hinkle setting the pitch, and that's outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes, so Hinkle falls behind here in the second. Did that a couple times in the first, but was able to get out of it. Hinkle's 1-0, and this one grounded off the bare hand of Hinkle. It'll be rebounded by Fox. His throw to first is in time, and that is out number 1. 1-4-3 on the putout. And that is out number 1. It'll bring up the right fielder, Daniel Aldrich. Brandon Hinkle tried to make a play on that ball with his bare hand. It was grounded up the middle. It deflected off that bare hand. And Justin Fox at second base, a nice heads-up play to gather it and throw to first for the out. Aldrich enters today, hitting .214 with a homer and 6 RBIs. He's playing right field as he had for the entire series here. Hinkle setting his pitch. And that bounced way before the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Looked like that one kind of slipped out of his hand. 1-0 the count, no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers as we play here in the top of the second. The lefty Brandon Hinkle versus the lefty Daniel Aldrich. Hinkle's 1-0 is high, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out here in the top of the second. For the Wild Things, Hinkle from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the 2-0, is swung on a miss, 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Hinkle stands at 5'11", 180 pounds. The lefty pitched in the Toronto Blue Jays organization a year ago. He's set in the 2-1. And that's high, ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. The count on Daniel Aldrich. Hinkle set in 3-1. And this one's popped up. It'll go back into the seats. McKeon looked over, and he doesn't have a chance. Count goes full 3-2. Brendan Constantino, the on-deck batter for the Lake Erie Crushers. And for Hinkle, he had 4 walks in 4 2/3 innings pitched in that first outing. Already has 2 today. So he's looking to limit his walks here in 2016, as that's been a problem for him early on. 3-ball, 2-strike pitch. And a called strike 3. Hinkle strikes him out. His second strikeout of the day. And there are 2 away here in the top of the second. Rain starting to fall more heavily here at Consol Energy Park. And that'll bring up Brendan Constantino. Constantino enters this game hitting .231, no homers and an RBI. So Hinkle, 2 outs here in the second inning. He's setting the pitch. And this one hit the right field. Dave Popkins getting under it. He will get there and make the catch. And that's out number 3. So 1-2-3 go the Crushers here in the second. And after 1.5, the score. Lake Erie nothing, Washington nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
Getting ready to start at the bottom of the second here at Consol Energy Park. No score between the Lake Erie Crushers and your Washington Wild Things in Game 3 of this 3-game series. Back in the first, Wild Things went 1-2-3 pretty quickly. Jamal Austin retired on 3 pitches. He popped out to short. Austin Wobrock retired on 2 pitches as he grounded out the second, and Jimmy Yezzo struck out on 4 pitches. Due up for the Wild Things here in their half of the second, Dave Popkins, Andrew Heck, and Grant Fink. As Caballero finishes his warm-up tosses, don't forget about the Antonio Brown Softball Challenge, which will be contested at Consol Energy Park on June 11th. Tickets for the event are available at the box office or online. For more information, give them a call at 866-456-WILD. That Antonio Brown softball game being played here at Consol Energy Park. As we said, June 11th, scheduled for that one. Your Wild Things on the 11th will be at Lake Erie playing these Crushers. So come out to Consol Energy Park as your Wild Things are away and watch some of your favorite stars take the field for the softball challenge. Antonio Brown putting all that together, the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. And we are ready to start baseball here in the bottom of the second as up steps Dave Popkins. Popkins enters this game hitting .226, no homers, no RBIs for the cleanup man. Caballero looks in, and his first pitch is outside ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. As we said, Caballero on the pregame show only 12 walks last year in 38 innings of work. So he has pretty good control. He's setting the 1-0. And checks his swing, but it's out. It's on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Nobody out. Bottom of the second. Caballero looks in. And the 1-1. And that's a called strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes as Popkins takes it. 1-2. Nobody out. Bottom second. Caballero, 41 strikeouts a year ago in 38 innings pitched. So he has that strikeout ability, the 1-2. And that's in the dirt ball, too. Tried to get Popkins to chase that one. Popkins didn't oblige. Popkins looking to get going in the run production department. Still no homers, no RBIs. He led this team in both categories a year ago. Caballero set in the 2-2. And this one fouled back. Count sticks even at 2. Rain falling here at Consol Energy Park, but the turf field has kept us playing. Nothing hard out there, so players agreeing to play on. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bottom of the second. Caballero setting the pitch. And that's outside ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count here on Dave Popkins. Andrew Heck will be the on-deck batter. Caballero looks into De La Rosa, has his sign, and the 3-2 coming. And it's low, ball 4. So Wild Things will have a leadoff base runner as Popkins walks, and that brings up the left fielder, Andrew Heck. Heck comes into this game, 200, no homers, 3 RBIs. He has tripled in back-to-back games. For Popkins, that's his fifth walk on the season to 12 strikeouts. So trying to get back in the walk department. As Heck steps in with a runner on and nobody out. Caballero looks in, he's set, and the pitch to Heck. And this ball lined to left field, but it will carry right out to Avila at third base, and that's out number 1. Hard line drive hit by Heck, but right at the batter, and that'll bring up Grant Fink, the third baseman. Fink got the night off last night, hitting 182 on the season, no homers, 4 RBIs. As Ricky Rodriguez played third base in last night's ball game. Caballero the righty versus Fink the righty. Popkins the runner at first after he walked. Caballero setting the pitch. And this one grounded just foul down the left field line. No balls and a strike on Fink. We talked about in the pregame show, Fink, my guy to watch in the Wild Things lineup. As he's hitting only 182 on the season, but if he can come through today, he can make this middle of the order very productive. Caballero looks in, he's set, and the 0-1 coming. Throw over to first. Popkins is back. Popkins on first after he walked to start the inning, then Andrew Heck lined out sharply to left field, and that brings up Grant Fink with 1 out. No balls and a strike to count. Caballero looks into De La Rosa, he's set, and the 0-1. And that's a called strike, no balls, 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Fink. Fink, one of the things he has to work on is his strikeouts. He's currently second on the team with 11 strikeouts so far this season. Caballero setting the 0-2. Popkins takes off for second. Pitches a called strike to throw down. And Popkins is out. And it's a double play, and the inning is over. The strike him out, throw him out double play. And no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left for the Wild Things. And after 2, the score. Lake Erie nothing, Washington nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, covering you all 2016 season. Brandon Hinkle back on the mound here to start inning number 3. Had a 1-2-3 inning last time, getting Juan Avila to ground out, getting Daniel Aldrich to strike out, and Brendan Constantino to fly out. Due up for the Crushers in this half inning, Brian De La Rosa, Mike Devine, and Connor Oliver, 8, 9, and 1, due up for Lake Erie. Rain falling a little heavier now at Consol Energy Park, but the team's still on the field, so we're still good for baseball. If you haven't heard, country artist Chris Young will be in concert at Consol Energy Park. That on August 25th. Tickets for that are available at Ticketmaster.com. Chris Young, one of the premier country artists in the country music scene. August 25th, the Wild Things are actually off. That's in the middle of a homestand, so come on out and see Chris Young here at Consol Energy. It'd be a fun concert to go to. So Brian De La Rosa steps in, and the first pitch is swung on a miss, no balls and a strike. De La Rosa making his 2016 Frontier League debut. Hinkle setting the 0-1, and this one grounded foul, no balls and 2 strikes. De La Rosa played in the Atlanta Braves organization last year, hit .205 with 5 homers and 23 RBIs. His count currently sits at no balls and 2 strikes. Hinkle set in the 0-2. And that's in the dirt, ball 1 as it skips to the backstop. 1 ball, 2 strikes. No outs here in the top of the third. No score between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Hinkle's 1-2. And that's in the dirt, ball 2 as he can't get De La Rosa to chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2-2, no out, top of the third. No score between the Lake Erie Crushers and your Washington Wild Things. Hinkle set the 2-2. Swing and a miss, and he strikes him out. That's Hinkle's third strikeout of the ball game, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Mike Devine. Devine has pitched in the first 2 games of this 3-game series. However, playing third base in tonight's contest. His hitting career is a .333 career hitter. He has 3 hits in 9 at-bats. The pitch, and that's low, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes to Devine. Devine is first at-bat of this 2016 season. Pitch from Hinkle, and that's a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count. 1 out here in the top of the third. No score. Hinkle's 1-1. And that's low, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike to Devine, playing third base this afternoon. We said rain is falling here at Consol Energy Park at a pretty steady pace, but they're still on the field, a 2-1. That's inside, ball 3. 3 balls and a strike, 1 out to Mike Devine. Devine playing third base today. The 3-1. And this one chopped over to third, but that'll be foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Connor Oliver on deck for Lake Erie. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. As Hinkle the lefty versus Devine the righty. Hinkle set in the 3-2. And this one chopped foul just behind home plate. Count 6 full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. For Devine, he's 6 foot, 215-pound right-hander from Springdale, Pennsylvania. A returner to this Lake Erie Crushers staff. Playing the field today on the roster as a pitcher. The 3-2. Checks a swing, but it's outside, ball 4. So a 1-out walk for Hinkle, his 3rd walk of the day. And that'll bring up the center fielder, Connor Oliver. Oliver walked his first time up. So Hinkle has fallen behind a lot of batters here the first time through the order. However, holding Lake Erie off the board to this point. As Oliver steps in. Oliver in last night's contest was 1 for 4 with a single. Here's the pitch. And this one hit foul. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on the Lake Erie center fielder. Game 3 of this 3-game series from Consol Energy Park. You're listening to MSA Sports Network. I'm Zach Ziegler. Hinkle looking into McKeon. He's set, and the 0-1 coming. Throw over to first, and they got Devine picked off. So Devine is picked off at first. That'll be out number 2. And Connor Oliver now batting 0-1, 2 outs here in the top of the third. The second man that Hinkle has picked off at first base. And now with 2 outs, a better situation here for the Wild Things. Hinkle set the 0-1. Swung on and missed, no balls, 2 strikes. Hinkle has a very good move over to first base as he does the high leg kick he does on every pitch, but then he makes the motion over to first as opposed to going to home plate. Hinkle set in the 0-2. And that's outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the third. Brandon Hinkle so far, no runs allowed on the mound. Here's the 1-2. And that's low and outside, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lots of pitches, however, for Brandon Hinkle. He's already taken the count full 4 times in this game. The 2-2 pitch coming. Swing and a miss, and he strikes him out. So, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. And after 2.5, the score, Lake Erie nothing, Wild Things, nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Be sure to check out MSASports.net every day this spring for the scores, the daily standings, and the weekly rankings, plus daily high school sports broadcasts as well. In May, we will have exclusive coverage of the WPIAL baseball and softball playoffs, the WPIAL boys volleyball and tennis championships, and the WPIAL boys and girls track and lacrosse championships. Anytime, anywhere, always there, every day this spring on the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network. As we head to the bottom of the third, we are going to have a rain delay here at Consol Energy Park as the rain has picked up considerably, and this will delay things here in the third. Currently, we had no score and not even a hit in this ball game yet, as one base runner for the Wild Things as Dave Hopkins walked to lead off the second, and only 3 base runners for the Lake Erie Crushers, all on walks in that department. So rain delay here from Consol Energy Park in the bottom of the third. No score between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. Taking a look at action happening around the league. A couple other games going on today around the Frontier League on Sunday afternoon, as we'll pull that up for you right here. Taking a look at the scoreboard. One game completed already as Windy City defeated Schaumburg 6-3. In the bottom of the fourth, the Gateway Grizzlies hold a 2-1 lead over the River City Rascals. The Normal Corn Belters in the top of the third hold a 1-0 lead over the Southern Illinois Miners. The Joliet Slammers hold a 6-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth over the Traverse City Beach Bums, and Florence Freedom and Evansville just underway in the bottom of the first. So a rain delay here at Consol Energy Park that gives us a chance to look at what's coming up for both of these teams. After this game, the Wild Things will have 2 days off, and they resume play on Wednesday, taking on the Traverse City Beach Bums in what will be a doubleheader. Game 1 starting at 6:05 p.m. can be heard right here on the MSA Sports Network. Trevor Foss will be on the mound for your Washington Wild Things in Game 1. Chase Cunningham takes the hill in Game 2. After that series against Traverse City ends on Thursday night at 7:05, your Wild Things will travel out to Schaumburg to take on the Boomers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 27th through the 29th. And then after an off day on Monday, they'll play May 31st through June 2nd at the Normal Corn Belters. After that, they come home to take on the Evansville Otters June 3rd through the 5th, and the Windy City Thunderbolts June 8th and 9th. Another doubleheader scheduled in that week, as we'll have 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday of that week. Then after that, they travel to take on these Lake Erie Crushers June 10th through the 12th before coming back home to take on the Joliet Slammers in a 3-game series June 14th through the 16th. Through these Lake Erie Crushers, after this series, they'll travel out to Windy City to take on the Thunderbolts May 24th through the 26th. Then they'll move on to Traverse City to take on the Beach Bums. That will be May 27th through the 29th. Then May 31st through June 2nd, they return home to take on the Gateway Grizzlies in a home contest. Then June 3rd through June 5th, they travel to take on the Southern Illinois Miners, and June 7th through the 9th, they're at the Joliet Slammers. And then finally, June 10th through the 12th, a home series against your Washington Wild Things. So these two teams play again June 12th. Will be their next matchup June 10th will be their next matchup at Lake Erie in Ohio. Currently in the middle of a rain delay, bottom of the third, no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers. We'll be right back. Going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more coverage. You'll listen to Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the midst of a rain delay here at Consol Energy Park as the rain picked up in the bottom of the third inning and has caused a delay as these teams are in the dugout. We had no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Lake Erie Crushers before the delay. Not even a hit on the night as 3 base runners for the Lake Erie Crushers on 3 walks, 1 base runner for the Washington Wild Things on 1 walk. Brandon Hinkle on the mound. We said in the pregame show that he had to watch getting behind batters early, and he did that a lot early on. 3 walks, a lot of 3-2 counts. In total, he had 4 3-2 counts through the first 3 innings of work. Not what you want to see out of your starting pitcher, but so far has kept Lake Erie off the board. For Juan Caballero on the other side, he has faced the minimum 6 batters as he got the Wild Things 1, 2, 3 in the first inning after Jamal Austin popped out the shortstop. Austin Wobrock grounded out the second, and Jimmy Yezzo struck out. Then in the second inning, it started with a Dave Popkins walk, and Andrew Heck flew out on 1 pitch that was very deep hit to left field, but right at the left fielder, and Grant Fink struck out to end the inning as Dave Popkins was caught stealing for the double play. Then at the top of the third, Brandon Hinkle struck out the first man, and then allowed Mike Devine to walk, picked off Mike Devine at first base.
MSA Sports. Enter your PIN number. PIN number 2016 is for broadcast Lake Erie Crushers at Washington Wild Things. Press 1 to start broadcast. Your broadcast has started. Waiting momentarily for your streaming to start.
We are back here from Consol Energy Park. We have just got word that this afternoon's game against the Lake Erie Crushers has been postponed as we were in the bottom of the third, so this game will not count. Game will be made up at a later date. So no game today due to rain as they finally postponed the game here in the bottom of the third. Next broadcast here on the MSA Sports Network can be heard Wednesday night, 6:05 p.m., Game 1 of a doubleheader versus the Traverse City Beach Bums. First pitch in that one, 6:05. It'll be Trevor Foss on the hill taking on Chase Cunningham. So today's Wild Things game postponed. Still, I'd like to thank you for listening to MSA Sports Network and remind you that you can listen to all Washington Wild Things broadcasts during the 2016 season right here on your home for Washington Wild Things baseball, the MSA Sports Network. Today's game postponed due to rain and will be made up at a later date. Thanks for listening, everybody, to Washington Wild Things baseball.
MSA Sports. Press 1 to resume or 3 to end broadcast. Your broadcast has been ended.